You'll need this Xbox upgrade sooner than you think. What is up, y'all? I am Ray, and this is my channel, Xbox Ready, where we get on and we talk about Xbox stuff. The latest news, rumors, pretty much anything I want to talk about as long as it's about Xbox in some way. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about how these early Black Friday deals might help you out next week when Stalker 2 drops, my thoughts on the deep dive they just put out for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and how Game Pass is showing up in a major way for the final stretch of 2024. So one of my biggest pet peeves this generation, specifically on the Xbox side, are the lack of options when it comes to expanding your Xbox's SSD. If you find that you want more internal storage on your Xbox Series X or S, you have two options, officially. You can buy an expandable card from Seagate, or you can buy one from Western Digital, the Black C50. And unfortunately for us, they can get pretty expensive. Over on the Seagate side, you have options for 512GB cards, 1TB and 2TB, and over on the Western Digital side, ever since they launched, they've only had 512GB and 1TB options, but now they have a 2TB one. And all you need to do to get it is pay either $250, $240, or if you go through SanDisk themselves, you can pick one up for $200, which is about the best that Xbox fans can expect when it comes to a 2TB card. That's about how much I bought my Seagate one for, and since I bit the bullet and bought it, yes, it made my life easier. I don't have to worry about shuffling around my games, deleting and re-downloading them. Very rarely will I go to download a game and then get the notification that I need to manage my storage. But I had to pay a premium for it, and I feel like we shouldn't have to do that. This is something that I hope Xbox addresses for their next generation of consoles. We all know that games are getting bigger and bigger when it comes to how much space they take up on our storage. But the internal storage in our video game consoles hasn't risen proportionally to offset that. It might be asking too much for Xbox to throw in just 2TB of storage as a standard thing for all Xboxes, sure, but the least they can do is open up the options for us fans. I was talking to my buddy Jimmy, who has done a ton of videos about how you can upgrade your storage on your PS5 console, and sure, while you have to do a little bit more work, overall it is way cheaper. I was like, hey man, how much for a 2TB SSD on PS5? He was like, $125. I was like, $125? I'm supposed to be grateful for $200. I was like, what about 1TB? What about 512GB? He was like, I don't know, like 75, 58, $60. I was like, damn, dude, that is cool. We should have options priced in that range, not the 200s. There's no reason that someone who just wants more storage on their Xbox console should have to pay almost as much as you would for a Series S. No matter what you do, it's probably time that you took a look at your internal storage, your current library of games, because next week, Stalker 2 is coming out on the 20th. It's one of my most anticipated games of this holiday season. You can pre-download it right now so you're ready when it launches, but there's only one catch. The file size is massive. It's over 147 gigs. Chances are that's going to be one of the biggest games that you have downloaded on your console. It puts it right up there with like Call of Duty, Forza Motorsport, Starfield. Now in this case, I'm saying worth it because the preview was awesome and I'm really looking forward to when this game drops. But given the storage crisis that we are facing as Xbox fans, it's also kind of annoying. Now, of course, sure, no one is forcing you to go out and buy an SSD card at all. There are other options. You can use a standard external hard drive. But if you download Stalker 2, put it on that external hard drive, and you plug it into your Xbox, you're going to have to move it from that hard drive to your console's internal storage. You can't play it off the storage device. You can only play Xbox One and older games off of that hard drive. Of course, you can also delete games that you're not currently playing or haven't touched in a while, but if your console's on a wireless internet connection, re-downloading them can be a pain in the ass. If you have Game Pass Ultimate, you also have the option to stream Stalker 2 through your console, play it through the cloud, before you fully commit 147GB of storage space to downloading it. I know people have strong opinions about cloud gaming, but essentially using it to demo games before you download them, in my opinion, that is a highly underrated feature that Game Pass Ultimate subscribers have access to. And sure, from a graphics and performance perspective, it's not going to be as good as if you downloaded it and played it natively. You may or may not experience some controller input lag, but after my recent experiences with cloud gaming, I'm confident in saying that it can give you a really good idea, a good representation of what the game is going to be, enough so where you can form an opinion about whether or not you like it before downloading it. But let's get off of storage cards and enough about those things. Because if you don't feel like spending money on a little tiny card that's gonna let you store more games on your Xbox, you want something a little bit more, I don't know, exciting. Walmart has this early Black Friday deal. I know, we're like 2 weeks out from Black Friday, but they're already dropping deals. They have this bundle for the Digital Series X on sale for $480, and that'll include an extra controller. If you're thinking about buying an Xbox and you're like, I could do a digital console, I don't have a lot of physical games and I don't really care about them, I would definitely recommend springing for this deal over a standard Series S. Sure, you won't get the disk drive, but you will have a full terabyte of storage, unlike my Series S back there, which has half that. You'll get a way more powerful console, and if you have friends, boom, you already have an extra controller that they can use whenever they come over. A standard digital Series X is $450. An Xbox wireless controller is what, $60? So overall, you're saving like $30-$40, give or take. It's a pretty decent deal, not the best. I imagine that we'll see a way steeper discount going into the holiday season. Last year, we saw a regular Series X with a disk drive drop all the way sub $400. So if this isn't exactly popping out to you, you're like, I feel like I can do better. If you practice a little patience, I am about 80% sure that we'll be seeing better deals for Series X consoles than this. When they first announced the digital Series X, and then when I saw it, I was like, I don't know. I don't really know. I want the disk drive on my Series X. But the more it hangs around, the more it's growing on me. I'm like, the white coloration is actually pretty cool. And the lack of a disk drive just makes it seem, I don't know, more clean, more streamlined, more aesthetic. It would be really cool to see Xbox kind of steal a move from PlayStation and come out with their own disk drives. That way, any fans that buy a digital console, whether it's a Series S or the X, if they change their minds down the line, rather than trade in and buy another one or do any of that stuff, they could just buy like a disc reading attachment to go along with their Xbox. But if you're planning on playing most of your games digitally or through Game Pass, I don't see why you wouldn't want to pick one of these up. Speaking of Game Pass, we got a whole long ass look into one of the most anticipated day one additions to the Game Pass library coming next month, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Now, I feel a little bad because most of the buzz around this game has been about, I don't know, them having a PlayStation 5 version of it coming out shortly after the Xbox version releases. But I feel like mostly people are getting over that and we're focusing once again on the game itself. If you want to check out the deep dive for yourself, it's over on the Xbox page. It's about like 15 minutes long. We got a better understanding of the story, the gameplay mechanics, and just overall what they're trying to achieve with this game. I think it's shaping up well, and I know that it was received pretty positively at the previews that they just did in San Francisco. But I do kind of have my reservations now that we have this extended deep dive. Let's start off with the good stuff. First of all, I think from a graphics perspective, this game looks really, really awesome. Especially the environments, the actual dungeons and tombs that Indy is exploring in this game. A little less so on the character models. I don't know, for some reason, like Indy's hands when he holds up the camera, I'm like, what's going on here? The individual performances are sounding really, really awesome. Troy Baker as Indy and the rest of the cast. If it had come out sooner, I wouldn't have been surprised if someone from this cast was nominated for Best Voice Acting in a Video Game at the Game Awards. On the other end, though, I do feel like there are a couple of things that are giving me pause, making me, like there's a certain block happening here that's preventing me from being totally hyped about this game. I think the number one thing is that I'm not really a big Indiana Jones guy. I didn't grow up watching the movies. I have since then. And I acknowledge that especially those earlier movies, they were iconic. But I don't have that like special connection to the franchise that I feel like some other people are going to have playing this game. I'm not going to get any of the references. I don't necessarily know whether this game is canon or like where it fits in terms of like the movie continuity. And frankly, I don't really give a damn. Indiana Jones, and this makes sense because he's just like a regular dude. He's a cool archaeologist, but he's just a regular dude. He's not a superhero. It seems that from the gameplay, he's going to rely a lot on stealth. And stealth games usually, it's not my thing. I don't know. A lot of the takedown animations look cool, like with this whip or like picking up improvised weapons like a pipe. That's cool. And I will acknowledge that, sure, there is merit of building the tension, trying to sneak around. It's just not usually the type of game that I go for. There have been a lot of critics saying that Indiana Jones should have been third person, and while I don't personally mind first person, from what we've seen, from what they've shown off, there are some times where I think it works better than others. In the beginning of this deep dive, they show the player as Indiana Jones in this room that is rapidly filling with sand. Classic Indiana Jones, from my understanding. From the first-person perspective, it just doesn't give off that same sense of danger that I think they could have achieved in third person. Seeing how Indy's body reacts, like as the sand envelops his waist, or seeing his facial expression taking in this highly dangerous situation. On the other end, I feel like first person really immerses you into the actual adventure. When they were showing how Indiana Jones is walking through these tombs and examining these walls and stuff, seeing it from his perspective was really cool. They also took the time in this deep dive to highlight some features that just didn't, I don't know, they didn't get me excited and they didn't sound all that fun to me. They were like, oh yeah, take out Indiana Jones's camera and take pictures of the landscape and all these monuments. I'm like, yeah, that's neat, and like I will take it as an opportunity to learn about these different areas that Indiana Jones is in. Weirdly enough, learning about history, geography, mythology was one of my favorite parts about the Assassin's Creed franchise. So I don't know, maybe it'll be neat and practice, but again, it was just one of those features where I was like, am I supposed to be excited for this? Like, is this a big Indiana Jones thing that, oh, you can take pictures with this camera? I don't know. Either way, I'm rooting for this game to do well. It's one that we've been hearing about, one that I've been talking about since I started the channel back in 2021. And if it turns out to be good, it could help solidify one of the strongest stretches Xbox has had in terms of their first-party output and also their Game Pass library. Black Ops 6 came out last month, and a lot of people seem to be enjoying it. Stalker 2 is coming out this month. If they can end the year on a W with Indiana Jones, that'll be awesome. And on top of that, Game Pass subscribers also got another surprise this month, the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Now, I didn't grow up the biggest Spyro fan. I played a couple of the games. I never owned them. But for Xbox fans, this is significant because it is yet another Activision Blizzard franchise that has made an appearance on Xbox Game Pass following the acquisition. It's been slow rolling as fans. We haven't really seen the additions that we saw following the Bethesda acquisitions, where they were like, boom, here's Quake, boom, here's all the Elder Scrolls games, boom, boom, boom. They've probably had to take it a little bit easy because of all the legal stuff, but we're getting the big guns on there. We got Call of Duty on Game Pass now, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, StarCraft is on PC Game Pass. Now we need Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, that remake they did not too long ago. Sure, they may have changed the tiers, they may have raised the price of Game Pass Ultimate, but in exchange, we're getting more franchises, more games, and as Xbox continues to see success with, I don't know, Call of Duty and Activision Blizzard boosting their profits through the roof, hopefully they'll reinvest that money into more awesome gaming experiences and bringing not only Xbox first-party franchises to Game Pass day one, but shelling out the money to third-party publishers to bring some bangers over on that front as well. Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you made it this far into the video, consider subscribing. Help me on my journey to 200,000 subs. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.